So Albert has taken a 2-match to 1-match lead in this best of 5 9-point match format. If Albert wins this match, he will become the club champion. Marty needs to win 2 matches in a row. Double fours for Albert. He makes the 5-point. 4-2 for Marty. He's going to safety up and establish a defensive anchor on his 18-point. 4-2 for Albert. He's going to make the 4-point. So Albert's jumped out in board development lead, but Marty's kind of made an anchor and escaped a little bit. Albert's escaped one of his rear men, but the other one's still back on the 24-point, although pretty safe because Marty's got no inner board development. Double 2 for Marty now, and he can build his inner board. And basically, with the last 2, he's going to have to decide: is he going to make the 9-point, or is he going to try to convert this into a racing game? The 9-point doesn't look so bad. He can still build a prime here. The race looks like Marty's actually behind in the race a small amount. Yeah, Marty's maybe down about 10 pips in this race, give or take. So that argues for staying back. I think he should, he could make the 9-point. This is another idea, which is keep the 11-point and maintain maximum control of the outfield. Makes it a lot harder for Albert to escape that checker because he has to leap past the 11-point. It's just only 6-5 would do it without leaving a double shot. So, but he's going to try. He rolls 6-3. He leaps into the outfield. Marty's not able to hit, so 6-5. Marty's probably just going to slot his 5-point safely. Okay. So now 6-4 for Albert, and he makes his 9 points. He's got another landing spot now to try and clear his midpoint. Albert's, I feel like he may have increased his lead in the race a few pips. So 20 pips before the roll, I think. So Marty's down 13 pips. Is that enough for Albert to cube? 13 pips, I believe, is the race. But they're going to count it to be sure. Let's see. I'll recount. Oh, double fives. Double fives clears and adds to the race lead. So Albert was thinking about rolling last turn. Now he's going to have a cash. He quickly reaches for the cube. Marty's going to double check to make sure about the race, but I think when he gets done counting, he's going to see that he's just too far behind and that this is a pass, and Albert's going to take a 1-0 lead. Yeah, Marty gets there. They are not playing with the clock. It's okay to take your time and make sure, even though it's basic arithmetic, we all screw up at heading pips. So you wanna make sure. Five 4 now for Albert. He splits and brings one down. 6-2. Marty's gonna hit. Marty hits him off the 5-point. 4-2. Albert hits back. Now a 4-1. So blot hitting contest going on here. Marty hits loose. He unstacks a little bit off his 6-point. Double fives. Double fives comes in and hits, and now Albert can make another point in his board. He can play 8-3 twice and then look for another 5. Other options are to just try to escape. He can run his back checker all the way to the mid, but he's choosing to make the 3-point. 5-1. Marty's going to anchor up. So that equalizes the position a little bit. Albert's ahead in the race, but Marty's got the better contact. 5-4. Marty would have liked to hit Albert's blot in the outfield, but he misses. If he wants to hit, he's going to have to hit loose with the 5. He's going to have to hit loose on the 3-point. It's a little bit deep. It gives up his spare on the 8-point, but I don't know what else he can do. I think he's kind of forced to do it. He does it. Now 5-6, so Albert can't hit back, but he can run into the outfield, and that's what he does. Marty misses the double shot. Double 6. So double 6. This could be tricky. There's a number of ways to play this. He could advance his rearmost checkers to the 18-point and kind of play a double holding game. It relieves a bunch of the pressure on Albert's checkers because the stack of checkers on Albert's 6-point right now have really nowhere to go that's productive other than the 4-point, and there's not a lot of numbers that make the 4-point. So if Marty gives up the 24-point, he kind of reduces pressure on that point, but in exchange, he's buying a lot of pressure on Albert's midpoint. Now I don't know if that's a worthwhile exchange or not. If he does not move 2 of his rear checkers forward, then he's gonna have to either give up his midpoint or play checkers deep on his side of the board. So like that's part of the problem with this position. Now he could maybe consider running a checker, just one checker from his 20-point, give up his advanced anchor, and keep the contact on the 24-point. But and double 6 is kind of enough maybe to put him back into the race. Lots of considerations here. I haven't even gotten through all the plays. So this would be the way that Marty keeps his rear checkers as is. As I said, it's going to cost him. He's going to have to go deep with some of his checkers. He's going to be stripping his midpoint. Okay. He does it. It builds a 3-point board. It's a tactical play because Albert still has two loose blots to bring home, and if Marty can hit one of those, he's going to have a nice board. But Albert rolls a number that safeties them both. So the tactical play, didn't pay off yet, but it's still a 3-point board, and now Marty's slotting the other 2 points. He's going to try to extend the strength of his board. 3-2. The safe play obviously is either 13-8 or 8-3. Albert could try to get a little bit frisky and tempt Marty off one of his anchors because Marty's got 2 blots in his board, but I think Marty would be happy to oblige. Some more bumps at the board, so 6-1. 6-1 from Marty, and lots of ways to play this. He's going to keep his rear checkers as is. That's where he's going to stake his defense, and with the ace, he's going to play purely. He's going to make his 5-point. 6-1, so Albert can hit, but why hit when you could just make this beautiful bar point? So that's what he does. Now double 3, so Marty's going to be able to build his board, and then he's going to have to figure out what to do with the last 3s because as it stands, he's not going to be able to keep those 2 rear points in Albert's board forever. He's going to have to give one of them up pretty soon. He doesn't have enough timing to keep them both, so one of them's going to have to go, and when one of them goes, his defense is going to come from the other one. So he has to figure out where does he want to defend this position from. And I think he's well down in the race here. I think okay, so he is advancing up from he's advancing to the 21 and the 20-point. This kind of, those are, the 21 and the 20-point are points that Albert would like to make. So by owning them, Marty is able to prevent Albert from making them. The thing is, Marty can't keep those points. He's going to have to run off one of them pretty soon, and he's going to only have contact from the other. So, I mean, I might have been tricked by that. I might have stayed back on the 21-point and tried to stake my defense from there. The other thing is the cube is still in the middle, so Albert can consider doubling a position like this because because there are some big market losers now. It's not as dangerous as it looks, though, for Marty, because Albert's only got a 2-point board. And Albert's got that blot on the ace point. So I think Marty's got sufficient contact to take this cube. Marty can even reestablish. He can maybe make that 10-point and put some pressure on Albert's midpoint for a roll or two. Marty does have problems, though, because he can't keep everything. He can't keep his board, and he can't keep all the contact. So something's got to give soon. Does Albert have a cube or not? He's deciding no, he doesn't have it just yet. So with the 5, he's covering his ace and playing safely. So now he's free to hit, but Marty rolls a 5 and he does make the outfield point. So he is putting some pressure on the midpoint. This is probably enough to stave off the cube. I think with the combination of needing to clear the midpoint and the gap on the 5-point, that Albert does not have a cube here. Yes, it's true that that Albert can roll a number that clears, or that Marty's going to have to leave a shot next time, and maybe maybe if Marty has to leave a shot, then Albert's going to have a powerful cube next roll, and will he have lost his market, and by how much? That's the real question. But I would roll here. Yeah, Albert rolls. So 3-1. He can maybe entertain the idea of making the 5-point, but there's no way he's going to do it with Marty having that 5-point board. He just wants to play safe, again, Albert's creeping up on a cube. When you're creeping up on a cube, you don't really need to make volatile plays. So there really isn't much benefit of having made that 5-point as far as cube consideration goes. So 6-1. Yeah, Albert can keep the block, or he can start to clear his 8-point. I like this play. This makes a 4-point board. It's gonna make it difficult for Marty to maintain contact with the single blot on the 10-point, because now Albert's free to hit it. So 6-3, and will Marty leave that blot there or not? He can play 8-2, 4-1, and keep the pressure on. He can also make the 10-point and just leave a straggler back on a 21, but that does not look correct, I don't think, because even though it might work, it might be beneficial for the next roll coming up. It gives Albert a lot of pick and pass numbers, and if Albert does not pick and pass, then what's Marty going to do with the roll after that? It's going to be just as dangerous the next roll. So I think Marty's going to have to choose between sort of 15-6 and just bring the checker all the way around, and then figure out what the cube action is. The race is a big deal. They are counting the race, so the race is a big consideration here. Again, because I'm talking, I don't know what the race is. Maybe I'll try to count it. Let's see, Albert's up 2. Oh, Marty makes the tactical play. So he makes the tactical play, making the 10-point. This makes it difficult for Albert to clear the mid. It does buy him some pick and pass numbers. Okay, so even after a pick and pass number, Marty can a lot of times just come in and reestablish his contact. A lot of times he fans, so Albert does get a pick and pass. Marty really needs to come in, otherwise he's going to have to pass the cube. All right, so he fans, and now Albert's just going to cube, and I don't think Marty can take this cube. It may have even been a cube the roll before, when Albert had the pick and pass numbers. In addition to the pick and pass, he had numbers that would have maybe cleared, or also pointed on Marty. Marty. So, like, there was some big market losers. So, Albert may have had a cube the other way. I'm not sure. I would have thought about it. But anyway, Albert held off, pick and pass, fan, and then now a cash, and it gives him a 2-0 lead. 2-0. If Albert wins this match, he will become the NEBC club champion for the 2016-2017 season. Marty needs to win this match and the next one to win the title for himself. Double 5 from Marty. He goes on the attack, but Albert's able to anchor up. Now a 6-2. 6-2, so I don't think Albert wants to give up his anchor. It's just too dangerous with Marty having 9 checkers in the zone and a 3-point board. So Albert keeps his anchor, and he could have hit 13-7, 6-4, but that would have left 2 blots. Instead, he decides to play with 1 blot and plays 13-5. Marty pauses for a second to think about this. Double 4s can hit, which is what he does. He hits, runs into the outfield, and makes the 9 point. So a pretty good roll for Marty. And now a 6-5. Albert keeps his anchor, runs into the outfield, and Marty's jumped out to a huge lead. He's got a blocking structure. He's got a race lead. He's got checkers escaped. Albert's got nothing on his inner board. Marty's shooting at a blot. I do think this is a cube. I think this is a cube. The problem is really for Albert. Can he take this cube? He snaps it right up. You know, Albert is up 2-0. That matters a little bit. He snaps it up because Marty doesn't always hit, and then he's got to bring the position home. But Albert's got to build up his board. He has nothing on to play. He's got reasonable chances to be able to do it. And now with the double 6. What will Marty do? He can't play completely safely. He can just leave a single shot, and it's a little bit scary even sometimes for Albert to hit that shot because he has to give up his anchor, but he doesn't hit, and now a 4-1 for Marty, and he's just making a safe play. He brings the 4 in to a 6-point, and unstacks his 3-point. Oh, he's going back. Maybe he sees something else. I don't know what else he can see. 3-1. 3-1 for Albert. So Albert is going about building his board. He makes the 5-point. He's got a bunch of builders in place to try and make the 4-point or the bar point next. 5-1. A little bit awkward for Marty. He has to dump to the ace point. 5-3. So, okay, he couldn't make the 4-point, but he can make the 3-point. It's an effective point in this position. I think he should just make the 3-point here. But he's playing purely. He's slotting the 9. He wants to play purely. 6-5. Marty's thinking about clearing. He sees that Albert's building up his board. He might want to just clear when it's not really beneficial for Albert to hit. But, he hits with a joker. He hits 3 and covers with the 2. So, but Marty rolls a joker of his own. He comes in with the 1, and now he can pick and pass and cover. So he puts Albert up against a 4-point board, and now Albert fans, and Marty's got a bunch of numbers to hit a second checker. He rolls one of them, a 4-2. 4-2 hits a second checker. What does he do with the 4? If he wants to play safe, he would have to bury the 4 on the 3-point. If he wants to play aggressively, he can slot. He can play 8-4, maybe slot and try to make one of those points. He win a lot of gammons if he isn't hit back. Even when he is hit back, he's going to have a bunch of builders. It's with that checker buried on the ace point. Maybe Marty does not want to bury another checker. Although, I would do it. I think I would play 8-4 here. I would go for it. 5-point board is a pretty powerful force. It's going to lose a lot more. When he gets hit, he's going to lose a bunch because Albert's got a formidable position up front. But, even if Albert doesn't come in, even if Marty plays safely and Albert rolls a 4, Marty's still a little bit under pressure. Not as much pressure as if he had 2 men back. He can still continue his attack at least if he's not hit. But I would still slot. You know, a lot of times when Albert hits, Marty is able to return hit from the bar. Um, I know it's scary. He loses a lot of steam in this kind of blitzy position if he gets hit. Um, but again, that spare on the ace point is just out of play. He has to take some chances, I think, to close this board up. He does it. Marty does it. So Marty slots the 4. Albert fans, oh, double 6, not what Marty was hoping for. This is awful. So he makes the aggressive play, and he does not get rewarded for it. All those covers, he's not able to roll one of them. In fact, this is going to be one of his worst numbers. He's going to be forced to bury even more spares beyond these points that he wants to make. The main benefit of this play is the number of pips. You know, he can maybe race around the board without having to close it out and still win a gammon, but really Marty's not, I don't think, too happy with this number. He really wanted to make that 5-point board. Now if Albert hits that shot, Marty's just going to have his checkers out of play. It's going to be pretty easy for Albert to establish control of the outfield if he's able to come in on this next roll. So Marty's going to have to sweat this next roll. He's still thinking about how he wants to play it. So if he's hit, Marty's going to need 1s, 2s, and 3s to come in. He might want to have, for diversification purposes, a different number to hit back. So what does he have left to play? He has he's played 2 of them. He's played 8-2 and 24-18. He's got 2 more to go. I think yeah, this is not necessarily easy. The thing about playing 9-3 is he's already got. Well, they're just dead checkers anyway. You know, I think I would play 1 and 2. I would just stack them up. There's not too much. There's really not extra flexibility by having that spare on a 3. Oh, 5-3 would have been great, but it's cocked. A fan is not good. So Marty has 5s to cover. He rolls a 5, and he has an ace to play. So it works out in the end for Marty. He makes a 5-point board. 6-1. Oh man, 6-1. Just enough flexibility. Marty's rear checker was stuck. If he rolls another 6-1. Or even a 5-1, Marty's going to have to leave a blot and no double 3s. Oh, man, Marty's 5-4, Albert's in. Oh, look at this change. Marty made the 5-point board, but he wasn't able to. Oh, is that legal? Yeah, 4, and now he has an ace to play. So if he scoots forward, he will be leaving aces, 8s, and 9s. That would be, let's see, 8 8s. Marty's going to be able to count this faster than me. So 11 1s plus 8 8s is 19 plus 5 more numbers from the for the 9s. It's 24 if he scoots forward. If he stays where he is, it's 12 numbers plus 5 9s is 17 plus 6 4 and 5 5 is 3 more, so 20 numbers. So I think it's 4 numbers safer to stay here if I've counted that correctly. Wow, that seems like a lot of shots. Is it really that many shots? That's a lot of shots. I think I've counted it correctly, though. There's just 8 and 9 away is a lot of contact. It's like, so I think, so it's, I think if I counted it correctly, it's 4 more shots to get closer. But on the other hand, it's closer to home. So it's really an investment. He'd be investing those 4 shots and getting closer to home, because if he doesn't get home, he's going to be leaving another double shot next turn. So, so maybe 4 shots is a worthwhile investment. I'm not sure if I got that right. I think I did, but let me just kind of get it. All right. So from where he is here, if he stays here, it's twos. It's 11 twos plus 1 1, so that's 12 numbers plus I believe let's see 6 3 5 4 and 3 3. That's 5 more numbers. That's 17, 6 4, 19 and 5 5 20. So 20 numbers if he stays here. If he moves closer, it's going to be all 11 ones plus 6 eights. 6 eights. That's where I miscounted. All right, so I was saying there was 8 eights. There's 6 eights. So it's 11 plus 6 plus 5. So it's 22. So it's 2 numbers safer. Oh, so it was 2 numbers safer to stay here. I might have invested the 2 numbers just to get closer. Marty played for the short-term gain of not getting hit, and it paid off because 5-3 would have hit, and now a 6-2. Okay, 6-2. So Albert's got 20 numbers here. He misses. Albert misses, and really there's no benefit to staying back there. All it does is increase his gammon chances. So he's just gonna have to flee and try to save this G. Marty can win a fluke gammon here if Albert kind of limps and he can roll some sets. There's a set. So not terrifying, but Albert's definitely not out of the woods yet. 3-1. 4-3. So 4 more crossovers for Albert to get off this G. Marty's looking for another set. That will definitely put the scare into I missed a roll. It looks like he only got 2 off. Marty's got 5 checkers off. Albert's got 4 crossovers to save it. But Albert can miss with an ace. An ace would be a costly miss. It would cost him pretty much a rule. I think they dropped a die. The game is paused while they 6-3. So Albert misses with a lot of aces here. Pretty much all of his aces actually will miss. So Marty gets set. So Albert will miss with all aces, and he rolls an ace. Oh, Marty did it. It was a fluke gammon. So Marty gets 4 points. He takes a 4-2 lead. It was a fluky gammon. Albert had a ton of shots there. He just wasn't able to hit one of them. Effectively 2 double shots in a row he missed. And then just to pile on, Marty gammoned him. All right, 4-2. And Marty splits. And 6-1 response. So Albert makes his bar point. 4-3, and Marty has a choice. He can make his 5-point or the 20-point. He's choosing to make the defensive 20-point. He is ahead in the match, so this makes sense. He wants to make an advanced anchor with 4-5. Albert's looking to partially escape a checker. Another alternative would have been to maybe split and come down with the 5, but then he would have been under the gun of some of Marty's builders. Marty hits him anyway and makes a point. Now, double 3 for Albert. He's going to be able to make the 10-point and then look around for a 3. He's going to slot his 3-point rather than come up into the into range of Marty's builders. Double 1 for Marty. So coming up would not have been a good idea. Marty would have hit him. Instead, Marty has the double 1s. He's going to make the 5-point and look for 2 more. He may still end up making the 4-point, but maybe he just moves 8-6 because the 5-point is much more valuable than the 4. And even though it costs him a builder, he gets to make a more powerful point, 6-5, and Albert is able to escape one of his men. And I don't think Marty's going to cube. He might be thinking about it a little bit because he's got 10 in the zone and the advanced anchor and a better board, but just seems a little bit light. Albert's escaped a checker and has structure of his own, so it matters what's going on both sides of the board, not just your assets. Your opponent's assets matter too. And so I think match score and all things considered, Marty, he thought about it, but he waited. He's thinking about it again. Now Marty's got 11 in the zone. He's got an extra builder in the zone, and he was able to diversify by getting his stack in the 6-point. Anyway, Marty rolls. He points on Albert, who now comes in with a kind of an awkward 2-1, and still Marty can consider cubing, but Albert, the race looks pretty close. Albert is not really hemmed in. He can just roll a 6 and get into the outfield and convert into a race in a position where Marty still has to bring his 2 rear checkers home, and there's a lot of contact in front of them. So again, Marty's holding off. 3-1. Albert's building up his board. I do not think this is a double. So Marty does not have any spares on his midpoint. It kind of diminishes any threat he might have of making his bar and hemming Albert in. Marty still has some powerful numbers to make his 4-point, but even after those, he's not really losing his market. Albert's just a 6 away from leaping into that outfield and converting this into a holding game where Marty would still have reasonable chances, but Albert would definitely be the favorite if he can convert this into a holding game in what looks to be a pretty close race. So 3-2 for Marty. What's he going to do here? He has like really safe plays. If he wants to play safely, he can play 6 and 3 is the safest play. That leaves no shots. If he wants to take a little bit more chance, he can hit loose. He can leave indirect shots. He can try to clear his midpoint and buy a lot of builders for the bar or maybe the 4-point, but it does leave a plethora of shots. Let's say it would be 6-2, 6-3, and 6-4 plus double threes, so that would be 7 shots. Okay, so a significant number, but not a direct shot. The main problem is that it's 3 blots. So even if he gets away with it next roll, Albert will have some return shots the roll after. But maybe that's something that is worth it for Marty because the payoff is pretty good. He's going to have, if he survives after coming down with 2, he would have a lot of numbers to make one of these blocking points. What is the race? Marty just might go safely here or hit loose. I don't think hitting loose. Actually, hitting loose doesn't look too correct to me. I think it's going to come down to bringing 2 down or just playing completely safe. He could also slot the 4, but that's just more shots immediately. So why do that? Anyway, let's try and count the race. Albert's up 6, 4. It's even. Marty's looking at the hit. So if the race is close, this is one way of maybe trying to convert this into a race is to get Albert up on the bar and hope he fans or something, and then Marty's maybe able to make a 4-point board. But it's a pretty big parlay. I don't really like the idea of hitting loose. So Marty decides against it. He makes the safe play, and now 5-3 for Albert, who leaps into the outfield. Marty hits with a 4. 2 down, and so now Albert's up on the bar, and he comes in with the 1. He has a productive 5. He can play 13 to 8. 4-1 is he's either going to make the 2-point, or he can play safely, or he can hit loose. Those are the options. I think I like making the 2-point more than I like playing safe. Again, I need to know the race. I'm such a slow counter. I'm going to try and count the race. So I think Marty's ahead, I think about 12 pips after the roll. So 12 pips, Marty's ahead. So that's not a convincing lead. It does kind of maybe make the safe play a consideration. I still think I would make the 2-point because it's not a race until Albert gets into 1, and making the 4-point board gives Marty a bunch of chances to maybe go on the attack, or maybe Albert rolls awkwardly and has to leave like a fly shot or a blot somewhere, and Marty can pick up a second checker, and if that happens, the 4-point board would also be valuable in that case. It's 4 numbers, 5-3 and 6-2 would hit, and basically no returns from Marty after a number like that. So those are the big downsides. Those 4 numbers. Is he picking up enough, making the deuce point on those 4 to pay for those 4 numbers? Because if he just plays safely, he actually keeps a builder. Because if he makes the 2-point now, he's giving up even though that point is deep. That dilly on the 3-point would act as a builder in this scenario. So that's what he does. He keeps his attack chances open. Albert rolls a 6-3, leaps into the outfield, double 3 for Marty. He's not able to advance his rear checkers. They're blocked, so he has to move all the checkers up front. But this increases his race lead. It's just now Marty's the one that needs to get into a race because Albert has full control of the outfield. Albert can't cube because of Marty's race lead, but soon I think Marty's going to have to run now. He's going to have to run eventually. He may as well do it now while Albert's only got a 3-point board and is not really poised to carry out a huge attack. He can maybe wait a roll. Albert might have to leave a blot in this board, and then would also be poorly positioned next roll to carry out an attack. But the thing about playing safe is Marty's going to have to dump the spare off his 6-point, and then he may have to break his board next roll if he rolls awkwardly. So he might want to do it now. He's running. Marty does have a significant race lead, so he's running 5-3 points on him. That's just too bad for Marty. Albert rolls a joker, and now Marty fans, and I think Albert can cube now. Marty still might be ahead in the race, but this is a powerful cube. Albert's positioned to maybe close Marty out. It's not that gammonish. Marty doesn't get gammon that often. The problem is he has to withstand the strength of Albert's attack, and it's just too much. Marty passes, so 4-3. 6-4 for Albert. He behind in the match, so he makes the deuce point. Double ones for Marty. He makes a 5 and 7, and now a 5-3, and Albert's making the 3-point. 6-1. Marty hits. So everything's been going Marty's way so far. 3-1. Albert's making a bid for the 21-point anchor. He hasn't picked up his dice, though. He can maybe spread his checkers out. Marty's only got 8 in the zone. So I don't think he's good enough to double yet. He's getting close because Albert's got 3 checkers back there. Oh, 6-4 does not let Marty cover his blot on the 8-point, so he may as well hit. Since he can't cover, he may as well hit. But he's being careful. He's thinking about what else he can do. Yeah, he goes for the hit. He probably gets hit back a little bit more than the other way, but so he gets hit back a little bit more this way than from the other position. But you know, he keeps Albert from establishing an advanced anchor. And this 6, Albert comes down with the 6. Marty can think about actually cubing this position, even though he's only got 8 checkers up front, and then another spare on the 11. Albert's got 3 checkers back there. Marty's threatening to make a 4-prime. It's a pretty powerful 4-prime too. Marty's also got a direct shot. So, you know, if Marty hits that shot and Albert doesn't hit back, it's also a good development for Marty. So I do think this is a cube. In fact, Albert's got those deep points in his board. Those could become a problem with 3 checkers back. To have deep points in your board, it makes it difficult to fill in the points behind them. So filling in the 21 or the 4 and the 5-point, Albert's going to have trouble filling in his board. Marty's thinking hard. He's looking through all the numbers. He does not double. He rolls. This is a really good number. He has lots of choices here. He can hit and cover. Or the problem with hitting and covering is that it leaves some return fly shots on Marty's bar point. Marty could instead just make the solid 4-prime and then put the squeeze on. Maybe step up with the last 3. You know, by hitting, he would also give Albert some chances to make a second anchor in his board and maybe have some kind of a playable back game, although the timing looks pretty bad for Albert, and also the deep points in his board look pretty bad for Albert. So I don't think Marty needs to concern himself too much about getting stuck in a back game. But the other consideration is that the cube is still in the middle, and now Marty's thinking about the cube. I think this is a pass now. If anything, it might be too good. I think Marty missed an opportunity last roll, but I'm not sure. You know, Marty was a super joker that he rolled. Double 3s was really good. So is this too good? Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, he's got that direct shot. He's very happy to hit that shot, even though Albert might fall back into like some form of a back game. It's not going to be a very good one. And, you know, this is just a huge pass as it is. It looks like it's going to be hard for Albert because of the difficulty Albert has with covering his own 4 and 5 points. Even if Marty rolls and something goes wrong, Marty still has cube access, and he has some powerful cubes anyway. Because you know, those just 3 checkers stuck behind a 4-prime. It's just really hard for Albert to win from there without rolling some kind of joker. He'd need something like a double 2 or something along there's just really not that many numbers. Albert's checker on the 23 point at least has some daylight. He can run into the outfield and maybe play an ace point game, but that's not a very favorable game. So Marty's doubling. He's deciding to cash. Albert passes quickly. I'm just not sure. I might have been swayed by the deep points in the board to take a roll there and maybe give my opponent a pretty tough cube decision next roll. Anyway, 5-3 now, Marty. He's 4 away, 6 away. Four, 3 for Marty, and he's splitting. 6-5 again for Albert, so he has run both of his checkers to the midpoint. Both of his checkers are escaped. 5-1. I think Marty's just going to concentrate on building his board, so he slots with the 1 and comes down with the 5. Oh, he also could have played 9-4, but he didn't. I guess he didn't want to have 2 blots in his board in case he gets a shot. But I might have done it anyway, just to build up that board as fast as possible. So 5-2. He's going to get. He's got the 7s and 10s to hit. He rolls a 7. So Marty's prudence pays off because he only has one inner board blot. Albert hits it anyway. Double 4. Actually, my play, he would have gotten hit twice. So double 4 is a great roll for Marty. He hits and makes a 5 point. And now let's see, 3-2 for Albert. He hits back. 5-3 for Marty. So I think he can come in with the 3 and hit with the 5. He can come in with the 5 and anchor. He can come in with the 5 and hit. But he's attacking. Albert's only got 1 checker back. Marty's got a lot of wood in the area. He wants to keep the pressure on. Albert's got no board. He also has a blot loose. All right, Albert comes in with a 5-2, so he's at least able to safety one of his blots. But still, Marty's in full control here. Marty's not able to hit, but he solidifies his position. 3-2 for Albert. He's forced to play safe. Marty's got 3 men back, but he's got 10 in the zone. Albert's kind of stuck with just a single man back. Marty can think a little bit about cubing because, again, this is a special score. Not quite the same as 4 away, 5 away, but similar. 4 away, 6 away. It's a score where the leader gets out perfectly with a double gammon, and so a lot of times you can double a little bit early just to activate those gammons. It's just not very gammonish yet with Marty only having had a 3-point board and Albert only having a single checker back, and Marty has 3 checkers back of his own, but now Marty has a 4-point board, and he's trying to figure out what to do with the 2. He can either play safely or scoot ahead, maybe try and put pressure. If he comes up 24-22, he can put a lot of pressure on the checker that Albert's trying to bring home. But, another play is to just stay back. A lot of times the best way to apply pressure is to keep your checkers back and maybe just play 6-4 here. All variations, Marty wants to make his 4 points, so maybe just start it now, and it keeps a lot of pressure. But he's coming in. Marty's staying back and coming in. He doesn't want to... Again, when he gets fly shots, so here it's a 7 and a 10, and if he hits it, he didn't want to have the blot in his board. Let's see if he can hit it. It's a big roll. Marty's shaking and shaking. Oh, it's a 5. 3-2. Marty's unable to hit. So what will he do now? He slots the ace. 2-1. So if Albert wants to play safe, it's going to be 11-8. That's what he's doing, because what else? Everything else is pretty dangerous. Marty can maybe consider doubling on the come here, but I don't think I would do it. Double threes, and so Marty advances to Albert's bar point. This is going to put pressure on Albert's midpoint, and Marty's still got the straggler back on Albert's ace point, so he's got pressure in all quadrants of the board now. 2 down, is in direct range of the 4 point that Marty would like to make next, so things are looking good. Albert's going to have a lot of numbers that leave a shot here, but double threes is not one of them. Double threes cleans the position up perfectly. This happens more than you may expect. When you have stacks, you just keep playing safe. You just wait for your doubles. Doubles cleans up your position beautifully. Look at this. Albert now has all these points. So what looked like a pretty stiff and horrendous position really wasn't so bad because Albert was able to roll the doubles, and now he has an insta board, and I think Marty still has a race lead though, so it's not like Albert can double or anything. It's just that it was Marty that was kind of toying with doubling. If with this big board, if Albert had left a shot, Marty might have doubled. It looked like Marty may have even paused for a second to think about doubling on the come, although he wisely, in my opinion, did not double on the come. That line of thinking is gone now. This is pretty even game here. Double six, so Albert has to play 3 of them to the deuce, and that's all he has. And so now a double six for Marty, who makes a 5-point board. 5-4. So Albert gives up a spare off his midpoint. If Albert rolls a 6, he will probably have to leave a shot. Only double six prevents him from leaving a shot with a 6. Oh. Is Albert actually considering doubling here? I don't think this is a cube. It does seem like he's considering doubling here, but I just do not think this is a cube. 5-4. Albert makes the ace. 6-2. Marty comes in with the 6, and I think he's just going to go to the deuce point with the 2. Then he can, with the. Oh, I would. This is also okay. The reason I'm thinking, you don't want to put your checkers deep, but the reason I'm thinking is to keep the spare on the 6 point is so that I have a 5 that. I have 3 5s instead of just 2 5s. From here, yeah, Marty has a 5, which will cover the ace, but it's only 2 5s. And maybe I want 3 5s just because, maybe Albert rolls a 6 right away, and I don't need that extra 5. But a lot of times players just break down their board, and the extra 5 could matter. If this ends up being a race, though, that spare on the deuce is not so good. Okay, Marty goes back. Double 5s. Double 5s is a winner for Albert pretty much. Marty's going to have to match that roll, and he's not able to, and I think Albert can just cash. He doubles. Marty passes immediately, and 5-4. Okay, so 5-4, 4 away, 5 away. Pretty good finish there for Albert. He had that stacked up position. He rolled those beautiful double 3s. And then finished him off with the double 5 at the end. So it just goes to show you can win building towers, man. Like you don't have to be afraid to play positions safely when that's all you have. Anyway, on to the next game. Albert has made a 22-point anchor, but Marty has made the bar 5 and 4 points. So Marty has a 4 prime, but it's pretty stripped, so it's not immediate chances to improve it. Now a double 3. He gets 3 more checkers down into his outfield, but Albert's building a prime of his own. So Albert similarly has a 4 prime, and Marty's back on the 24 point. And so it's Albert here who has the big advantage as far as timing goes. Albert's got that very important anchor, which is a whole lot of protection from getting completely primed. Marty can't prime Albert. Albert can still prime Marty, and Albert is doubling. And this is an interesting problem. I think. Okay, Marty lets it go. Marty obviously didn't think it was that close. He didn't think very long about it. if it was a 5 prime, I think it's a ridiculously easy pass. But because it was only a 4 prime, that's kind of the that makes it tough. That to me made it a tough position because even though Marty couldn't really build up a prime on his side of the board, he could maybe attack. He still had attacking chances. So, and he had a decent board, so he had room to maybe split his back checkers and fight for an advanced anchor. If Albert tried to attack, he didn't have a lot of attack material in place, so you know, wouldn't have been too dangerous. But again, it's just tough for me. I'm not, you know, Marty seemed to have a better handle on it than I did. Oh, and now a fan. So Marty's got a 3-point board. Albert's anchored up inside it. Marty's escaped one of his checkers. He's trying to escape the other one. Albert just fanned from the bar. And now another fan. And is this a cube? Four-way. You know, again, these are all tricky scores. Once you get toward the end of a match, you get to these tricky scores. So four-way is a score where, you know, a double gammon wins the game for both players. But the thing is, if you turn the cube here, it's got huge cube leverage for your opponent. So even though there's a bonus for the doubler, because they're usually more likely to have better gammon chances than you. If you're doubled in a position like this, you know, they get the benefit initially of the gammon chances, but you have ridiculous cube leverage here because your opponent needs about 33% or so to take a recube, and so you got a lot of cube leverage. If you can get out of gammon danger, you're always very close to winning the game with the cube because anyway. So Marty doubles, Albert takes. Albert's able to get off the bar, and now he has another stacky position. He's stacking them up again on the 6 and 5. In the back of Marty's mind has to be, oh God, not again, not double threes or even double ones, you know, not again. But you know, Albert's got a number of rolls. 4-3. So Marty's got a blot on his board. If Albert wants to consider hitting, he can. So yeah, this is duping the aces, but it's not okay. Albert's doing it. He's hitting, and so 3-1. Marty's not going to hit back. He's going to use his ace to make the board. 4-2. Albert makes the 4-point. 4-3, Marty leaps into the outfield, and 4-2, Albert's unable to hit him. So 4-2, he brings a 4 down, and then kind of diversifies on his inner board by playing 6-4, 6-5 for Marty, and he can't play safe. He cannot safety his strangler because it's blocked. So if he moves it, he's going to have to expose another block. So I think he's going to have to leave it where it is. I think he's going to be stuck playing 13-2. 13-2 looks like the play here. Yeah, he could leave 2 blots. The thing he has to remember here is that Albert's holding the cube, and it's a powerful recube. If Albert gets into the lead, if there's once Albert gets into the lead, he's always really close to threatening the cube. So and 2 blots. You know, Marty's got the stronger board right now, but yeah, he makes the deuce. He does make the deuce. Now a 2-1 for Albert, and he can hit if he wants, but it's risky. It's risky. It would be leaving 4 blots are on the board. That's too much for Albert. He doesn't want to do it. Then it was a wise choice. Marty would have hit back. Instead, Marty's stuck trying to bring that builder home. I'm sorry, that strangler home, and he's not able to completely do it. He's gonna have to give Albert another shot. And I think if Albert rolls a 4 this time, he will hit it. So 4-1. Albert can hit. I think he should hit. And I think with the 1, I would actually dupe the 5s that Marty needs to enter and safety check. Yeah, this is exactly what I would do. I would hit and then pick up. Marty does have 6 numbers that hit back, plus double twos. I guess we should count double twos because they would switch. But Marty also has a blot in his board, so I think Albert wants to hit here. Albert's looking at play B, which is to make his 5-point. The idea here is that Marty's liable to leave another shot in this game, and if Albert hits it, he'll be much more prepared to contain the checker. But I would hit now. I wouldn't. I'm not certain to get a shot later. I'm not even certain if I do to hit it. So 3-2. Marty comes in and Albert rolls 5-1. He's going to make a safe play. He's going to anchor up into the outfield, most likely. So what happened now with the race? Did that hit? Was that hit enough to make the race good for Albert? Let's see. He's down 12. I think a pip. I think Albert's only down a pip, right? Here, I'm going to count again. I think it's only 1 pip, and that this is, if it's only 1 pip, then good enough. Albert to just make that outside point. Yeah, I think it's only a pip. 3-2 for Marty. So, now double 5 is crush. This is a crush. If I'm right, Albert's going to be up 14 pips. Yeah, this is fine. He can also try to clear the position, but because he's holding that cube, it's hard for Marty to stay there. And maybe you want to keep Marty's 8s blocked, like 6-2 and 4-4. You don't want to let Marty out, so you can maintain that midpoint and then have a pretty good cube. If Marty doesn't get free, he's going to have a pretty good cube, and Marty's going to have it may be a pass already because Marty has such a high take point. Marty's shaking his dice. He knows he needs to get out of there. 6-3 doesn't do it. He's blocked. 6-3 doesn't do it. He's blocked. And I think Albert should double this. And Marty's got a tough decision. He's got a high take point. I think this is a pass. I would pass this. Let's count the race. But Albert rolls. Okay, Albert rolls. He's going to pick and pass. And now if Marty doesn't come in, it's going to be, okay, Marty comes in, 2-3. But again, I would double this. I think maybe I'm off on the race. I think Albert's ahead in the race. Is Albert awkward enough that 3-4, he had to bury a checker to the ace point, and then Marty came in deep, so he has now more contact. So maybe Marty improved that sequence. So for sure I would have doubled last turn. This turn now I'm not so sure. Maybe Marty's improved enough that. Well, what is the race? That's always the question. Albert's up 12 pips. So Albert's up 12 pips. The gammons don't matter. This would be for the match. And in fact, if Albert wins this match, he will be crowned club champion. So for Marty, this is do or die. He needs... He needs about 33% to take it. He does take it. I do agree that this is a take. 5-4. Albert covers the A point. He's very safe now. 4-1. What's Marty's plan now? he's lost in the race. He's now down 16 pips in the race, 4-2. This makes this you know, this makes the bar. I think this makes the bar. It's only 3-6. So this is safe, but the benefit of the bar point here is that it helps Albert clear the 8. The bar point helps him clear the 8. So 4-1, he can pick and pass, but I think he just wants to play safe. I think he just bring it in. You know, 6-4. 6-4. So Marty's in trouble. 6-3. Albert's going to have to bury. He's going to have to play safe and bury. So that was a risky roll. Albert could have done double fives. What a swing! So Albert had to open up the bar point, and then as soon as he did, Marty rolls a double 5 and able to leap out into the hole that Albert created, and now 6-3, and we're off to the races. Looks like Albert's still ahead in the race, but he's got a gap on his 2-point, a gap forming on his. He does cover the gap on his 5-point, but you know, Marty's got more checkers off. Oh, what's this? Is that a double? I missed it. I missed the roll. These guys are playing fast now. Double 2 for Albert. So Albert's got 4 checkers off. 4-2 for Marty. He's got 7 checkers off. 5-2. It's close. It is very close. Marty's got gaps to deal with. If he can avoid hitting those gaps, he can win this. He can win this match. If Albert rolls a set, he's going to win. 5-3. Okay, so Albert's got 5 left. Marty's only got 3. Oh, 6-5 is huge. 6-5 is huge. 6-2 and just enough. 4-1. Marty gets off, denies Albert a chance to joker him out, and that's it. It is 2-2, and the next match, 9-point match, is going to decide the club championship. We're going to start that very soon.